Okay. All right. Um, so you good, Jim?
We're we're recording, and yeah, we're live.
All right. So Gabe, to start off is probably the most important question, and I think I already know the answer of the podcast. But the first icebreaker we have for you is pork roll or Taylor ham.
Dude, like, oh, it gets so. I'm okay. Taylor ham, right? But I live in like Central Jersey, so like when people say, so I'll go to a bagel shop and I'll order like a Taylor ham, mac and cheese, and they'll take my order, and then like when it's ready, it'll be like pork roll, egg and cheese, and I'm like, that's definitely not for me because that's not what I ordered. Um, it's just this debate, man. It's Taylor ham.
Well, I do appreciate the fact that you've acknowledged that there is a Central Jersey because there are some haters out there that say there's no Central New Jersey, and Jimmy and I
There
are
was
from
none until 2 years ago when I moved in to Central
that.
Jersey. So there was none in my book. There was North and like this vague Jersey Shore, and then like a bunch of
Knowledge that there is.
wannabe Eagle fans down there in the central part of Jersey.
What's your go-to bagel when you order a Taylor ham and cheese?
Uh it used to be everything. Uh but then as you get older, right? Things change, and it just got too salty. So I
Okay,
would just go with a sesame seed or a plain.
okay, okay. All right. What exit?
Well, on the turnpike, exit 9.
Okay. All
Yeah, not
right.
on my I live really close to the turnpike. I don't live close to the parkway.
The
So,
GSP. All
yep.
right.
Yep, turnpike.
Did you have a favorite beach growing up?
Uh I mean, right, everyone used to go to Seaside, especially as teenagers, right? That's where we'd all go to. Now that we get a little older, we'd like a little more calm and relaxed. Last beach I went to was Belmar. And the
Okay.
Nice.
reason why I love that place is just the pizza, like
BJ's.
that big. Well, no, yes and no. Yes, yes, and maybe off stream we can get into stories. But the huge pizza slices that they have over there at that pizzeria that's like right by right across the street from the beach.
Yeah.
Um, Michelle, my wife, she loves that place, and I love it. So that's why Belmar. But yeah, I don't frequent the Jersey Shore that often
Okay.
anymore.
All right. Jimmy and I are from Point Pleasant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go. So you guys
yeah.
are you guys there now, or where are you guys? Where has life
No,
taken you?
I'm in South Carolina near Clemson, and Jimmy's down
Oh,
in
nice.
Florida.
Where in South Carolina?
It's called Seneca. It's in Oconee County, so I'm like 10 minutes from west of Clemson.
Okay, cool. That's where Crash is down in
Yeah,
CrossFit
they're
Crash.
in Spartanburg. So I work in Greenville, which is not too
Yep.
far from that
Yep, yep,
area.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. JR. I last time I texted him, I'm like, dude, you're gonna make me get like an apartment in Greenville or Spartanburg. How often I travel out there and support his community and just the awesome people that he has out there. So yeah, I'm not that I'm super uh not that I super know the area, but I've been there a few times. So I'm like, all right, cool. I know how to get around this really, really small town
Yeah.
that is Spartanburg, and then the little bit bigger town that is Greenville.
Yeah. It's a good
And
little
where,
area.
Jimmy, where in Florida are you? I'm sorry, I'm interviewing
Okay.
you guys.
No, you're good. I'm in Lake Mary. It's about 35 minutes outside of Orlando,
North or south?
north.
North. Okay, cool. I did a brief stint in Pompano Beach,
Okay.
which is further down, almost by Fort Lauderdale.
All right.
Um, Life brought me there, and I brought myself back to New Jersey very
I, f-
quickly.
I feel you.
It does that. It does that. Gabe, favorite journal article.
Well, you know what's funny, and it's cool that you actually brought this up because I got lost in the sauce. I got lost in the growing of the business, and then a really really good friend, and I hope we're friends. Taylor Self, he's also owns Sentinel training program. He's out of North Carolina, Charlotte. I was just texting him December, because in December I found out that I was going to be a dad, and December 5th I'm like, I need to get my shit in place. And I'm sorry I cursed, but I cursed a lot.
You're good.
Sorry.
We're from Jersey.
I tried not to. I put a little timer. I'm like, don't curse in the beginning because you never know. They can get like a little strike or whatever it is. So I tried not to curse. So getting my stuff together, I reached out to him and he goes, hey, remember, it's simple, not easy. Right. And that's one of the very first journal articles. That's what CrossFit is supposed to be. I'm over here thinking I need to sign up for HWPO, or I need to I don't have the time to go to a box. I just don't, because I have meetings and I have product that I need to, I just need to grow the business. And I sadly don't have the time to go into a CrossFit gym. That doesn't mean I'm not a member. I still pay. But I just don't go there. I have a full garage set up, and he just told me, hey man, like it's about driving intensity. And even though you don't have time, like all you need is a brief block, maybe 20 to 30 minutes out of your day to hit it really, really hard. And that's simple, but not easy. And something that and it was funny because 2 weeks later, we go to the CrossFit Health Summit, and Nicole Carroll says the same thing. Hey, this is a part of your day that is very simple, right? Let's take, for instance, what just happened: burpees and dumbbell snatches, right? Two movements, a couplet. Very simple on paper. Dave Castro complicated it, obviously, but it was a simple. It's a simple methodology, a simple idea, but you have to grasp the fact that you have to kick your butt, ramp up that intensity, and it's like a spark clicked ever since Taylor kind of reminded me of that. And I think that's one of the very first things, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of their things that Greg wrote. Simple but not easy, and that's what I've been living the past 3 months in my journey to kind of lose a little bit of weight, and also make sure that uh, I start working out effectively. So I don't know what journal article that was, but whichever one said simple but not easy, it's been a reoccurring theme in my life. The universe has been throwing me that the past few months.
Right on. And with that said, do you have a favorite WOD?
Uh, the first one I ever did, Fight Combat, has to be.
Okay.
It was my introduction to CrossFit. I didn't know what it was. It was my introduction to working out with football players, working out with your just regular people that are just going to the gym. We all had our own stations, and at the end of the day, like I saw these guys take their shirt off. They were big, they were freaking huge, they were jacked, like they were way more in shape than I was when I started it. And at the end of, you know, the workout, we were all dead on the floor. And I'm like, how? Like we did the same thing. Maybe they did a few more reps, but we all did the same weight. We all did the same wall balls. We all did the same box jumps. We rode the same calories, or not the same calories, but we rode. And we were all dead at the same time. I was like, wait, I can work out with these, quote unquote Adonises, and like it's still on the same par, on the same level. Their intensity and my intensity were still really, really high. Well, they maybe got me by 10 or 20 reps. We still burned it to the ground for those, for that, the 4 or 5 minute intervals, whatever it is. So Fight Gone Bad, definitely.
Nice. One last little maybe small world thing here before we go. You mentioned you were a member at Nassau CrossFit?
Yeah.
CrossFit Nassau?
Yes.
I used to cross paths with Justin every once in a while back in the day when he was over at CrossFit Love and I was teaching the CrossFit
In
Endurance
Philly.
seminars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful individual. Damn, he's helped me so much when it comes to my fitness journey. He gave me a platform to introduce his community to Paper Street Coffee. So I don't know if he knows, but I owe him a lot. I owe him way more than he owes me. And I mean, that's an individual who I don't think he's ever heard me say it, but dude, I love that guy so much.
Right on. Now, getting into the coffee, one last icebreaker for you. Do you have a favorite roast?
Do I have a favorite roast? My coffee or just in general, like a dark, medium, or light?
Both.
Dark, medium, or light? Yeah, both.
I hate light roast coffee. I hate it with a passion. I tend to like medium roast uh, as a as like a as like an entry, right? Because my goal is to have everyone drink coffee their own way. Medium roast is something that's really really cool, where it's not a dark roast where it's very strong in flavor. It's a little bit dialed back, and it lets you explore the intricacies and the flavor, and it gives you a little bit it makes an individual start thinking when they're drinking their coffee. So a medium roast is what I would tend to ask people to try if they want to try specialty coffee.
And why do you hate light roast?
I
Just
don't
out
know.
of curiosity.
No, I have no clue. Zero clue. So for instance, when I first started, I was only going to come out with a dark roast and a medium roast. And where I roast out of, it's like a small co-op where you pay some money and a bunch of people rent out the facility, and it's like a think tank, right? So a lot of people are in the same position that I am, or people that are even higher that have like multi-million-dollar contracts with other food vendors and stuff like that. We're all in the same place, and a lot of them were like, "Gabe, you really need a light roast. Like you're segregating a big population of coffee drinkers." I said, "All right, cool." So good. I try it out. I roast it. I cup it. I sample it. I'm like, dude, this doesn't taste good. I just don't like it. Everyone that tried it, Gabe, this is really, really good coffee. Just try it. You did a really good job roasting it. The flavor profiles are really good. You might not like it, but hey, you might not like. I don't like fish that much. Doesn't mean you guys don't like it, right? So anyway, long story short, I come out with the light roast, and it's actually my biggest selling coffee. So even though I don't like it, and I tell this story to everyone, hey, I don't like it, but that doesn't mean that my palate, my flavor profiles that I like are not the same, as you guys. Um, so that's kind of like, I don't like it, but that doesn't mean I don't drink it, and it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate it, and I don't know how to extract a really really good flavor from whatever bean I'm roasting to make sure that it tastes really good for light roast.
All
Awesome.
right. And another little through line for you. You said you got your level one at CrossFit Morristown. I believe it was Gorilla Fitness when you went there. That's actually where Rich and I started our CrossFit journey because
No way.
Yeah.
we actually our first CrossFit workout ever was at a level one. And then after we went to the level one, we were doing stuff in our backyards and at playgrounds for a little bit. And then we went to a CrossFit endurance seminar at Motown. And then once we went there, we kind of looked at each other at the same time, like, you want to come up here a couple days a week? And it was not, it's 90 minutes away, but we went up there for a couple months, and then Rich wound up going out to Cali, did chase CrossFit Endurance, and I wound up coaching there for a little bit.
Oh wow. I I remember that weekend. That weekend was like eye opening and like life changing. To be honest with you, it was, and I've said this multiple times, and I've said it to the people in person. Um, I wouldn't be where I am without CrossFit, without that weekend. That weekend shifted my perspective of, hey, I want to be a competitor, right? To like halfway through day one, I'm like, do I want to be a coach? Do I want to impact people's lives like these four? I think it was what, four coaches plus a flow man plus an intern. These like five redshirt individuals like just completely floored me, and I'm like, wait, I could do the same. I'm already taking the class. I'm already taking the level one. All I have to do is pass, and I can just open up a box, and I can instill what they've taught me, and kind of reach more people that way. So I think that was like a really cool that was a really cool weekend. I definitely remember that weekend. It was also like Super Bowl weekend, so on Sunday everyone left like as quick as possible to get to wherever they were going to go see the Super Bowl. So that was a cool weekend. That was small world.
Yeah. It's a good vibe up in that place. We would go to the 6:15 class 2 days a week, and Guys would be like, so wait, you drove from Point Pleasant to come here just to work out at 6:15? We're like, yep.
100%.
You guys are different.
I, even now, that sentiment, like what you guys just said, I do. There's a reason why I live about 30 minutes from Nassau. There's a reason why that's the only box, and in my proximity, there's a bunch of other boxes. There's a reason why that's my box. Uh, I also do jujitsu, and my jujitsu studio is 45 minutes from where I live, and there's one that's literally 2 blocks away from where I currently live, and I'm like, no, I'll drive the 45 minutes. It's about the quality, and it's about the environment. You guys felt it. You guys understand, like, hey, this 90-minute drive means absolutely nothing because that hour that I'm going to get uh, is the quality is paramount compared to just going out there and just getting, a decent workout. You guys felt it. You guys shoot. That's that's a longer drive than my drives, but yeah, you guys understand when you find something that's valuable, definitely invest in it.
Yeah. And Gabe, I totally feel you on the jujitsu because we literally had a jujitsu school on the corner by our house, and I used to drive past it and go 45 minutes to the place I was going to. So I totally get that. I'm curious where you train.
Uh, uh, Princeton BJJ.
All right.
Trying to make sure I got their name
Who's
right.
the instructor there?
Uh, the school is run by what's her name? Jeez, why do I not know? But it's a Marcelo Garcia
All right.
school, and Shane is the guy who uh, was my first teacher when I was there.
All right.
He is such a good dude. He's a dad now. Uh, the other day when I wanted to go back to, not the other day, a few months ago when I wanted to go back to jiu-jitsu, I was like, "Hey man, do you know any schools around my area that are, good?" He gave me all these like recommendations, and I was like, "Shane, at the end of the day, I'm just gonna go back to you guys. You guys were the best." He's like, "I appreciate that, man, but I don't want you to drive so far." I was like, "Dude, it's worth it."
Yeah.
And now I do the morning classes, so he's not my instructor anymore, but he's the person who kind of opened the doors for me, and we were doing it heavily back in 2020. So when I was all in on jujitsu in 2020, and then obviously we weren't allowed to be all in, but we were still there doing our thing in small groups, and it would be like, hey, you 3 people, you guys can only roll with you three, and I got paired up with 2 blue belts. It was funny because I got paired up with like a 55-year-old, like very like 160-pound blue belt who was like a traveling doctor, and I also got paired up with this like 6'3", probably 260-pound blue belt, and I would just get destroyed. One would just be so quick I wouldn't be able to do anything. The other guy would just be so strong. I'm like, I'm just gonna just die. And every day I'd get my ass handed to me until classes opened up and I was able to train with other white belts. And I was like, oh, okay, there you go. Just because I got my ass kicked for like 3 months, it like unlocked a new like level where you're like, oh, okay, like, all right. Like, I appreciate you guys putting me with these guys. Maybe they didn't get a lot out of it, but I got a shit ton out of it.
Yeah. Trial through fire.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I definitely know that feeling. So kind of get into it. I'm curious, before you started Paper Street, did you consider yourself a coffee snob? Like, what did your
Oh
day?
no.
No, what did your daily coffee practice look like, and what's it look like now?
Uh, the same, exactly the same. So, I mean, I didn't start drinking coffee until like sometime in college, so like 20, yeah, probably like 2009, 10, around there. I started drinking coffee, and then I would just dunk in K cups. Nothing crazy, nothing simple. I mean, everything very simple. And I liked coffee in the sense that it was just something that I would use to give me energy back when, bulletproof coffee first started coming out. Not the company, but the actual, when they put MCT oil and butter and all that stuff. That was my go-to before I went to the gym. Like I would have me and my friend would go to Whole Foods and we would order bulletproof coffee, and they knew what it was. So I was like, all right, cool. That's what I would normally drink. We would then go hit like a yoga session and then go to our CrossFit class. And honestly, I wasn't a coffee snob. Uh, and then my wife's uncle, he owned an ecotourism company in Colombia. So that was part of his kind of tourism stops. So he would stop at different farms and different producers and pick up coffee. So like if you guys go to Colombia, you guys can book one of his tours. You used to be able to book one of his tours. He'll take you on a bike. You guys will go for 2-3 days, a week, however long you guys want, and you guys will stop at different places, pick up awesome coffee, and he would send some to us. And I have this awesome coffee in my house that no one, like you can't get this in the U.S. But I didn't know how to make it. So like I'd buy I'd buy just like a crappy grinder from Target. And let me rephrase that: not a crappy grinder. I buy a grinder from Target, an expensive grinder for Target, grind it, and still put it in K cups and put it in my K cup machine, and you're good to go. And believe it or not, I don't drink my own coffee now. I still go to Dunkin' almost every day, or I'll go to Wawa almost every day, and I'll still drink it. You don't get high on your own supply. And also, it brings you down to earth. You're like, this is what everyone drinks. This tasting coffee is what everyone drinks. On the weekend, when I have a little bit more time, I'll pull out all the stops. I have everything under the sun that you need upstairs. In my kitchen, I have my espresso machine, I have my pour overs, I have my French presses, I have my AeroPresses, I have everything that I need to make a perfect cup of coffee. I just only do it for if I have family and friends over, or on the weekend I used to do it for my wife. Now she's pregnant, so I don't do that anymore. So hey, you know what? Wawa every day. So that's what I drink now.
All right, respect.
Working man's Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I literally don't have the time. I wish I did. I wish I had an extra 15 minutes, because a lot of people think, oh yeah, you could. No, if you're gonna do it right, you need time. You need time to, my French press technique is almost 20 minutes long just for like a cup of French press coffee. So, not everyone's willing to wait 20 minutes to have a cup of coffee. And when I'm in a rush, or when I'm waking up to like go to a morning jiu-jitsu class, or waking up to go roast, or waking up to catch a flight, it's just, I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna stop by Wawa. It's right around the corner. I'm just gonna stop by, which is people that don't know what Wawa is. It's a convenience store. It's a convenience store coffee.
Do you have a favorite Wawa roast?
I have the regular roast. Everything else tastes like shit. Everything else tastes like shit, to be honest with you. So when they're out of that, I get so angry when they're out of like their in the morning when they run out of the regular roast. I'm like, how does that happen? Why does that happen? And I have to go get something else. I'm like, nah, it's okay. I'll just drink water. Yeah. So just yeah, dude, French vanilla this, hazelnut this, their Cuban roast or their dark. No. Just give me regular roast. You guys don't know what you guys are doing. It tastes like crap.
When you are doing your weekend special, what's your go-to? You use the French press? Do you go Chemex? Do you like the AeroPress?
I go cycles. So last month I was doing just a V60. This month I'm doing a Chemex, and I'll just go through every month. I'll change it up, and especially now that with the coffee shops and us trying to expand our line of coffee, specialty coffee, we are getting some samples. So I'll do a lot of cupping, which I don't know if you guys have ever cupped coffee, but it's just basically you grind coffee, you'll put it into like a cup, and then you just pour hot water over it, so the grounds will kind of almost kind of insulate the cup, you'll leave it there, you'll break up the grinds, and then you'll just like slurp it and taste and cup the coffee. So I've been doing that a lot. You need to know what you're doing, or else you're just gonna literally drink a bunch of ground coffee and it tastes horrible. But this month is Chemex. If I have a lot of people coming over, definitely Chemex. I try to shy away from the espresso machine just because we have a really cool and really good espresso machine at the shop. So I'm like, I don't want to use my rocket here at the house. I'll just go to the shop if I really want a really good espresso.
Do you have pour overs at the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We have our pour overs. Myself and the managing staff knows how to do it. The newer, younger kids, we got high school kids working in there. We're trying to teach them, have a little list of how to do it, step by step. But it's on feel. A lot of people, when it comes, even my friends, they'll text me like, "Hey man, why did my pour over, why is it not tasting good?" I'm like, "All right, send me a picture of the grind." Like the other day, I was in Tennessee driving, going to our second location, and my best friend goes, "Hey man, my coffee tastes like ass." I'm like, "All right, FaceTime me." He showed me his grind. I'm like, "All right, you got to open it up a little bit." I was like, "Okay, how does it taste like?" All right, explain to me, what does that mean? Because for instance, when I described uh, light roast and dark roast coffee before, I said intense flavor or I said strong flavor, but that means very different. That's different from both of you to me. So when someone says, "Oh, I really like strong coffee," I'm like, "All right, cool. Can you elaborate?" That doesn't mean anything. That could mean something very different to me. That could mean something very different to you guys. So I start asking questions so they can come up with like, "Oh, I like the taste of, maybe it's a little chocolatey taste. Maybe I like something more fruity. Maybe I like something more floral. I like something that has a little bit more body. Oh man, you know what? This coffee tasted a little bit too strong. What does that mean? Too vinegary? Yeah, that. Okay, cool. So now I have a place to work with. Because strong, I'm like, I don't know what that means.
So how do we go from the Colombian tourism and getting some really, really rock star coffee to,
The masses, the pandemic, thankfully.
yeah.
Um, you know, I was like in a really weird place because I just sold my gym in November, December 2019. So right before, stuff hit the fan. And then January, uh, I had a corporate job, I had a job, or still have a job. Um, where I was paying me fairly well. I knew the guy since I came out of college, so thankfully I've had a steady income, but I wasn't fulfilled. Right, I sold my gym because of some personal reasons. It was doing really really well, um, and I just needed time to just kind of just do me, like do stuff for myself. I was doing so much for other people, because when you own a gym, you're doing stuff for other people. You're helping other people on their journey, whether it's a journey of getting more fit, or whether it's you have a 60-year-old client who just literally verbatim they said, "Hey, I just want to play with my grandkids." Perfect. I got you. I can help you with that. Or people that are trying to aspire to be, weightlifting champions, or going to at that point regionals of the game. So you're being very very selfless, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I stopped. I went on vacation. We went to Iceland January, and it was weird because there's a lot of Asian tourists in Iceland, and you started hearing a bunch of like, "Hey, maybe this tour group goes over there, and like this tour group from Asia goes over there," and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." Right. So even in Iceland, you started hearing this like something's happening, something's rumbling here. Uh, and then yeah, and then when I came back, things kind of changed drastically. Um, I remember I remember now people being stuck at home, coffee shops closing, and I'm like, dude, why don't I just have this awesome coffee and just bring it over? Like send it over, like start figuring out a way where I can do an e-commerce brand where if coffee shops close, they can't close the internet. theoretically, I hope. So I just got online and started Googling how to import coffee. Then from there, it's like, well, you don't want to import it already roasted because then you lose the quality. So then, like, well, I got to roast it here. Okay, Google roasters. Well, why am I going to have someone else roast it? Plus, no one is really roasting anything because everything is closed. So then I found a place in Brooklyn that taught you everything, taught you roasting, and they literally just opened January of the pandemic, so they had no customers, and I was one of the customers. So I would go there. It would take me. It would take me what takes me now an hour and 15 minutes to get from where I live to Brooklyn. Now it used to take me during the pandemic 20 minutes, just cruising, just on the turnpike, passing through the George Washington Bridge or the Lincoln Tunnel with no traffic. Just 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. It was perfect. It was beautiful. But I would go and I'd spend all day there. They would just teach me and I would ask questions. They would ask questions of me. They would introduce me to a bunch of other people. And that's how it started. Just I got really, really lucky that this it's called shared roasting where I roast out of uh that they just needed people and I needed their expertise and now they're thriving and I just the one of the owners stopped by this weekend for a grand opening of our coffee shop and he wrote down he's like you were like our fifth ever partner here. I was like, yeah, I mean, I remember, I remember you guys, I remember going there and there being no one there. And now they have like two locations working on a third location, huge roasters now. And now we've upgraded to using their big Loring roaster. So it's really cool. It's been a really cool journey. We've all kind of grown together.
And with that process and getting everything going, what was the biggest thing that blew your mind in that process?
How unfair coffee is in the sense of just picture it, right? You have the whole world is told you can't run your business. The whole world is told you need to shut down, right? So if a coffee shop shuts down, what happens? A producer has no one to sell their coffee to. A farmer has no one to sell their coffee to. These big corporations, they're not going to buy coffee. Like, no, why am I going to buy it from you? So what's not really known is Europe and Asia, they buy the most coffee. So you have a lot of these big European and Asian corporations that have used to have a monopoly on these small third world countries. If you look at like the coffee belt, which is like a few degrees off the equator, north and south, it's all like really struggling countries, right? Countries that are in Africa, and we all know that, and even like countries in South America, which is they're war torn, civil wars. And now let's say I'm talking to Rich down in Colombia, and Rich is like, yeah, this farm has been in my family for 5 generations, and now I can't sell this coffee, even though this coffee has already been produced. I have so much of it. So what happens is people like myself and a bunch of other growers, we get to a bunch of other roasters, we get together, and before where they're like, no, I can't sell it to you. I have a contract saying I can't sell it to you. Now it's like, well, I'm going to sell you this coffee. What happens now is they don't need to sign that contract, a 5-year contract that says you can only grow this particular type of coffee here in this rich, fertile land. Now it's like, all right, cool. You grew that this year. How about next harvest we try something else? Not only is it better for us, it's better for their land, right? We can't be growing the same exact thing in their land over and over and over and over again. And then, hey, if you're in Colombia and your land is soil and your land and your soil is fertile, what else can you grow there? That's not coffee, right? So you have farmers fighting with like cartels. You have people, especially in Africa as well, right? Uh, you have a bunch of governments that just want to come over and just say, no, this land is mine now. Go. You guys are producing coffee for me. We'll give you 2 cents and we're going to sell it for $5, if that. So that was just like, oh, you hear fair trade, but you don't really know what that means until you have, FaceTimes, until you talk to these people. I speak Spanish, so I'm able to talk to some of the growers, and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like we're making an impact. We're helping them out. They're telling me this love story of how this coffee has helped their family for generations, and you're like, all right, cool, that perfect. I'm going to buy that coffee, and I'm going to roast it, and I'm going to treat it as well as if it was my own. I produced that coffee. So that's like the biggest kind of like reveal when I started to go down this path of bringing coffee and bringing it to individuals. Some people don't even care about that story, but it's important. It's important to me. It's important to me. It's important to every one of my employees and every one of my partners that they know, hey, it's not, you guys aren't benefiting only me. You guys are benefiting the whole supply chain of really awesome individuals that we partner with that I'd like to think we're making an impact. And as we go and as we work with other importers and as we work with other people that are giving us coffee, we're seeing that now. We're seeing these really cool small farmers that are growing coffee in Argentina. Argentina is not nowhere near known for coffee. Bolivia, same thing. Like nowhere. Like people don't know. Like you don't grow coffee there, but we're getting it and we're tasting amazing coffee. And if it wasn't for the pandemic kind of shaking things up, it still would be the same. So, it's a little blessing in disguise.
I appreciate you sharing the supply chain and kind of seeing the other side of that, because I think as consumers we lose that. We don't see that. You go to the store, you buy a bag of beans, or with the food you buy that, and you kind of don't have connection to the calorie. And so I appreciate you talking about that with the beans. And you brought up that COVID or 2020 is kind of why you started and wanted to start an e-commerce brand. But before we got on here, you'd mentioned you're opening up your second store in Tennessee. You got one in New Jersey. So was the brick and mortars ever a thought, or was it always we're gonna sell this online, or kind of happen as you started succeeding?
No, no, no. The brick and mortars were never, ever, ever, ever. I mean, until last year, it wasn't a thought. I owned a bar, so I was like, never again. Um, I owned a gym where a bunch of people came in, so I was like, never again. But then I'm like, oh man, I really miss interacting with people. So we started doing a lot of events, CrossFit events, and a lot of other local pop-ups for our coffee. And I just like the interaction of talking to people. Being a coach for, you know, 8 years. I don't know how long I was a coach for. It's something that I missed. I really did miss it. I mean, I miss coaching now, but just interacting with people, just being able to, hey, Jimmy, how's your day? Oh yeah, it's raining outside. You got your umbrella, just random stuff like that. It was just those interactions that I did miss. And the more that we did pop-ups, the bigger that we got, the more awesome I started seeing how our small little community started growing. I said, hey, let's just make this specialty coffee. Let's reach as many people as I can, and let me show people that we can make this really, really cool coffee at a coffee shop. And then you could just grab the beans, and those beans you could use the same beans that we're using in our coffee shop, you could use at your house, and it could be equally as good as what you're tasting here, or it could be super unique to Jimmy or to Rich. It could be your own journey. That's why we have it on our bag. I don't have a bag here, but it says, enjoy your journey. And truly that's what we want. I can care less what you think about, like, oh hey Gabe, is this coffee good to you? Like, well, let's talk about it. Is it good to you? Like, I might think this coffee is amazing. You might think it's crappy. Um, but and we're able to test things out at the coffee shop. I'm able to get that instant feedback, right? Let's say you guys buy coffee, it takes a week to get to you guys, make it, and then you guys give me the feedback. Oh, Gabe, this is good. Or if it's like, oh, Gabe, this is bad. I'm like, all right, cool. Why is it bad? Give me a little bit more feedback. Give me more constructive criticism. Let me make it better. Well, at the shop, it's instant. It's like, oh, this is amazing. All right, cool. Oh, this is better. All right, why? and we've had that, we've had those interactions in those conversations. I had a really cool interaction with not cool. I had a really cool interaction with someone who was upset that we charged extra for like oat milk and almond milk. They're like, "Oh, that's discriminatory against people who don't drink milk." I was like, "Interesting words, interesting words." I like, and it wasn't even towards me. It was towards we were still training, and it was towards two younger girls who were in high school, and like the second she said that, like their faces just went white. They're like, "What just happened? Are we doing something?" I had to butt in and be like, "Hey, sorry, but I don't think you're a Paper Street customer." Well, the door's that way. I mean, I gave her a coffee for free and everything, and she liked it. But I literally told her, "Hey, maybe we're not. Maybe Paper Street isn't for you."
I think that is amazing. Rich and I, when we used to coach, we used to have interactions like that. Or Rich still coaches. When I used to coach, I've had interactions like that. So I respect that a lot. I really do. And you mentioned that you like the interactions at the events with people. You like the face to face. That's what you kind of realize. And I've heard you talk about at the CrossFit Games your wife came and you weren't really talking to people. You
Oh
were
yeah.
you were serving people and you were kind of getting them in and out. And you also didn't want to be the face of the company. You wanted Paper Street to stand for something more than you, but you've kind of realized that people want to talk to you and they want to see Gabe. How has that been with going to events? Are you okay just standing there and letting your crew handle the drinks and stuff like that? Does it make you antsy if you're not handing people drinks?
Oh no, no. I mean, not at all. One of the cool things, especially with the people I've surrounded myself with, I don't like calling people employees because they're my partners. They're helping the business grow, helping me grow, and in turn, I'm hoping I help them grow as well. I mean, I'm sure I've said this to a few people on my team. I think the greatest accomplishment is the day where they come up to me and say, "Hey, Gabe, I have gotten another opportunity, and I think it's time for me to leave Paper Street Coffee." I'll be extremely upset, but I'm looking forward to that day. I'm like, "Ah, dude, I helped you. I like that's awesome. I hope we can stay in contact, and I don't like spread your wings and fly." Uh, so the people that I surround myself with and that help me, they're awesome. And I have, I like being behind the bar and honing my craft and making espressos and making lattes. Um, I I had a really interesting incident in Miami where I just like told my whole like a lot of the staff to like, "Hey guys, just give me room. Get the F away from me. You guys are being really, really slow." We had a bunch of things going on. People were texting me, people that, we were providing at Wadapalooza, we were providing coffee for volunteers, all the volunteers, as well as we were providing coffee for the VIP area, as well as our vendor area. So we were providing coffee for three stations, and we're talking about thousands of people. And my team didn't quite understand what we were doing or like what we had to do. So I said, "Everyone, get the F away from me. Look at what I'm doing and just mimic. Stop asking questions. Just this is like triage. Like we're in here, we're in the trenches. Like let's go." So I like being there for those things where I know I'm the only one that can do things effectively and efficiently. And once I do it once, my team will kind of pick up on it and then just emulate it. Uh, but yeah, I think one of the cool things is meeting those people. I'm sure you guys have heard that this year Wadapalooza, a lot of vendors kind of felt some type of way. Not me. Not me. Definitely not me. Why? Because I was able to be in front of thousands of people, thousands of my customers, thousands of new customers. And I was able to talk to them. I was able to say hi to them. I was able to hide from the rain. It was all these events are so cool because I'm able to catch up with those people and some of my athletes too. I'm able to see them maybe for the only time, whether it's at Wadapalooza or at the games. I never ask for anything at the games because everyone's really, really busy. Um, but it's such a cool place to see someone. I could put names to the faces of people who purchase the product online. I see every product that someone orders. I get an email And I just look at it. Messages, I can see everything, but my team is there to kind of do customer service and all that stuff. But sometimes I see a message that comes in. I'm up at 4 o'clock, so maybe I'll see a message from the night before at 12, and I'm like, let me answer it real quick. So I like being hands on, but I'm stepping back. So for instance, like the New Jersey coffee shop, I'm hands off. I was there the first time in a month yesterday, working it, because Michelle, my wife, she's like, hey, the coffee shop is getting swamped. I'm gonna go. I said, no, I'm like 5 minutes away. Let me go. I'll go. And I saw a few things I didn't like. So I group texted everyone that works there and say, hey guys, like just because I'm not there doesn't mean that, it goes to crap. Like the managers are there for a reason. You have to listen to them as much as you have to listen to me. And my wife is one of the managers. So let's make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to not only giving the customer the best experience, but giving ourselves the best experience, giving your employees like the best experience, making sure that you're not one of those like, ah, man, I'm working with Jimmy again. No, not again. Dude, I worked at the movie theaters. I worked at Best Buy. I remember like, oh, dude, I got to work with this guy. I hated that. And that's something that I'm trying to not have happen at any of my shops or my corporate entity either.
Where is the location, Gabe?
Crestkill. So it's up.
Crestkill.
It's up by Alpine.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you like a town over from Alpine.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. Next time you guys are in Jersey or in Nashville, you guys can stop by.
Yeah, we got a summer, trying to plan a summer road trip. We have a couple. We're friends with Boz, so we want to go see him. And then we also have another gentleman, Greg Camp, who was in Smash Mouth, who
Oh, nice.
lives out there too. That was a guest, and we want to go hang out with him as well. So we'll have to go check out the. Is that proven correct?
Yeah. I saw that episode you guys did with Boz. Something about him. He's such a good dude. We were there maybe 2 months ago now at this point, or a month and a half ago. We scheduled to have lunch, breakfast with him. My flight got canceled. This was when like Boeing had that issue where that door like got sucked out, and my flight got canceled back to New Jersey. And I was there with my operations coordinator because we were scouting to see if she moved over there. And went to have breakfast with Boz, and we're like, all right, well, we're just gonna go. Got to check out of our hotel room, and our flight isn't until 7, and it's 12 o'clock. He's like, do you guys want to drive around and I'll show you Nashville? And literally for 3 hours, just in his pickup truck, just driving around Nashville. And Bosman was giving us a personal tour of all of Nashville. I was like, what is this? In what world? Like in 2013, when I started CrossFit, I'm like, in what world did I ever think that I was going to be in this situation? Like, there's no way. It was really, really cool. It was really cool. And it just kind of goes to show what type of people are in the community, right? They're really good, very helping individuals, and I appreciate them so much for giving us that time.
Yeah.
Good dude, very good dude.
Gabe, before we get into the final four, let everyone know where they can find you, where they can buy Paper Street.
Paper Street Coffee is a Paper ST Coffee on online, paperstreetcoffee.com, and then just on our Instagram, Paper Street Coffee spelled out. We're there on Instagram. My personal, if you find me, you find me. Don't try to find me.
Nice.
Just because a lot of people message, and I do wish I had more time. I have a bunch of unread messages, and I'm so sorry. And I know it's from a bunch of people, but when I'm telling you, from like I wake up at 3:30, and I don't shut off until like 11. It's like, yeah, that's a day. That's what I'm doing. And if I have a bunch of things going on, like that's why when people ask me, hey, are you free? I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm never free. I'm never free, but I will make time. I will make sure I make time. Even for like you guys, like, hey, I'll make the time. I'll make sure that I can try to allocate some time, uh, so things don't fall to the crack, which a lot of things fall through the crack. But I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about it, but I have this awesome person, Paulina. She's part of my team, who is, damn, one of the best people I've ever met. She's young, she's ambitious, um, and just another from the ecosystem, right? I met her at Wadapalooza, not this year, the previous year, and she's just like, "Hey, I want to work for you." I'm like, "I don't have a job for you," and then just kept hounding me, and I was like, "You know what? I'm going to create a job for you," and it was the best decision I ever did. I don't know if you guys know Meme for Time Roderick. He does memes. Really cool guy. Stuff is hilarious. Got a bunch of followers and really, really good. Same thing. He's like, "Hey Gabe, I'm gonna work for free for you in like for like a month." I was like, "All right, cool. You're gonna work for free. That's awesome." 2 weeks, not even I think a week later, I called him up. I was like, "Hey man, you can't work for free anymore. You've been doing so much for me. I need to pay you. Like right now, I need to pay you. How much am I paying you?" Um, so like, yeah, man, it's just like it's so crazy how being in this small local community. I mean, it's not local, but like, and it's not small either, but like this CrossFit community has given so much to growing what Paper Street is.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's awesome. I think that's kind of because I've come in and out of it several iterations of CrossFit and the CrossFit journey, and the thing that always draws me back in is the community. And the other thing that I love about it is I'm a runner, an ultra marathoner too, and so I spend a lot of time in that world. But the thing I love also with the CrossFit community is that, and it's probably from Greg and his kind of ethos from the beginning, but it's created all these offshoot entrepreneurs of these people that are running gyms that have now created other businesses and may have moved on from the gym or may still run the gym. But then they also, I mean, you have, the my home gym back in Jersey, JSA CrossFit, Skip Chapman. He's got a soap, deodorant, beard oil, body washes, all this stuff. There's coffee. Castro's got his olive oil. There's like all these other, there's countless companies that make knee sleeves and wraps and all these things. But I think it's so cool that from the community that other people have been able to create businesses and become very lucrative through the CrossFit community.
I think a lot of people lose sight of that. I think a lot of people have, if you actually take the time and take a step back and see the macro picture, you start realizing how ingenious it was to not want to control everything when it comes from Greg. I've met him. I've told him, "Hey man, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for you." And I take that to heart, and it's true. And obviously he's like, "No, obviously you work, you put in the hard work, et cetera, et cetera." But I'm like, yeah, like a bunch of other companies kind of, right? They take those companies that are doing well, like, "All right, cool, I'm gonna snatch you up over here," and don't let them thrive and grow. And for us, for the CrossFit community, you just said it, right? Like, how many people do shoes? How many people do knee sleeves? How many people do coffee? Luckily, I'm very close to a lot of the other big coffee names in the space, and for me, it's not even a competition. For me, it's like, dude, those are my friends. Those are people that I get to talk to. And that's really cool that this particular community has the ability to let you be an entrepreneur and let you get it kind of almost springboard you into like this capitalism game, right? The barrier to entry to be a gym owner is very little. Like you can literally just go to a park if you have your level one, and you could, back in the day, that not anymore. I don't think so. I don't think that they want that anymore. But you could grow from just teaching classes in the park to, having a very successful gym 10 years later. So I think a lot of people lose sight on that, and they're like, "Oh, he did, CrossFit back in the day didn't do a lot to grow the business." I get it, but also they did a lot to make sure that you stumble and you make your own mistakes, and you grow from them, and gave you that, like, watching from afar type of thing.
Yeah, and I think anyone who got that early dose of CrossFit, whether they still do it or part of the community, it changed their life in the positive and made them, whether the way they eat different or the way they take in information, it was more than just working out. If you if you committed to what it was.
1000%. I've said it before, but a while back, someone's like, "Oh, CrossFit is dying." I'm like, "From where? From here? It's not." From my perspective, it's definitely from your perspective. It sucks that you have that perspective. Tell me from where. Tell me from where, because maybe if I give you my glasses and you see it from where I'm from, shit is doing nothing but making me, sharpening my sword. It's doing phenomenal, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But I'm also, if someone says, "Oh, CrossFit is dying," well, yeah, to you, not to me.
A lot of those people saying that have never done CrossFit.
Maybe they have, but they haven't really. I think we said that, right? The methodology and the ethos, the like being part of the that non-tangible aspect of CrossFit. Like maybe they dabbled in the community, maybe they dabbled in Fran, right? Maybe they dabbled in weightlifting a little bit, right? But they really weren't immersed and really didn't sit back and just think like, "Oh, wait, like this this methodology, like it's tried and true. It's resonating for the past, what, from 2007 and 6 or 2001 when it first started. Like we're 2024. Like it's it's here to stay, but that doesn't mean it can't evolve, right? Like it needs to evolve, and I think that's what's happening. I think people are mistaking the evolution of not just the methodology, but now the brand, right? Because now the brand is different than the methodology. It's still like, kind of encompassing, but I don't, like I said, man, I give everything to CrossFit, to Greg, and to a lot of other people, right? We briefly spoke about Sevon. Um, that man, when they say like don't meet your heroes because they'll disappoint, I've met him a bunch of time, hasn't disappointed yet. Um, and he's a friend that I'm so happy I can pick up the phone and I can call him, and he just be like, "Hey, what's up?" It's so like it's almost like a therapy session every month. I'm like, "All right, this is my monthly call." I can call him more than a month, but I don't want to bother him, and I'm just like, "All right, cool." Like this is someone that I get to talk to. Most of my friends now are through that or because of him. Vindicate. He does his shirts. Text them every day. Like me and him go back and forth, and like that's a friend for life at this point. And even some athletes like Colton is someone that now I have, like, he's in a group with a bunch of other people, and we message back and forth, and I'm like, dude, this person is so cool. And a bunch of my athletes the same way, and it's because of this man gave me the opportunity to give him coffee and has opened the doors, to be in front of you gentlemen, to be in front of the community, uh, to impact people's lives. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. So again, like the shit talking of CrossFit and the shit talking about a bunch of all these other people, I'm like, hey man, like these people are good dudes.
Yeah, and you turned me on to Colton, and we're wrestlers. We grew up wrestlers, so see that he wrestled. Like, all right, we got to follow him. We are now fans of him, so I appreciate you turning us on to him. Um, with the final four, the first one we usually ask is, "Are you a coffee drinker?" But we already kind of went into that. So, Paper Street got its name from Fight Club. Is that final scene? Is that your favorite scene in the movie? Do you have a favorite quote from the movie?
I mean, dude, yes, a bunch of quotes. Like everything. That final scene just resonates with me because it's just impactful, especially at the time when I started the business. Right, it was like that's what it was almost like. That's a cathartic moment where you're like, there you go, there you go, there you go. Definitely don't read the graphic novels. Graphic novels go like that very quick.
Okay.
Um, it was just, you just picture it, right? You have people are just like pent up and are just stuck, and then they see everything that is telling them, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, you should do this, or everything that's shackling them down, and everything just goes away. and it's a reset. And that's what Paper Street was. It was almost like a let's reset how you approach the start of your day, right? Most people start their day with coffee, and it's like you don't want to start your day with something crappy. You want, even if it's just, hey, the like I was telling you before, the story of how the bean has grown and how much love and how much care is brought into that bean, and how much love and care we put into it, right? It's like, hey, that you know that process of putting so much care into that bean, like going to your cup, is important. Like just that, like whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever that little bit of us that we put into it, like it goes a long way, rather than just like big ass company that just puts it in K cups or puts it in, instant coffee and just gives it to you. It's different. So I hope that people kind of relate to wanting to start something fresh, and every day is a reset.
Amen. Gabe, do you have any daily practices or rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of Gabe Maldonado?
uh yeah, to be honest with you, it's just checking in with the people that I call friends, and I call, like, people are like journaling this and that. Like, I am a person, I hate writing things down. I hate it with a passion, but that's why I surround myself with a lot of people that do that. But my friends, I always make sure I text them, and like we'll talk about the most stupid things, but then we'll also have heart to hearts. And every day, every time that I make a decision, when I thought about Paper Street Coffee, the first person I called was my girlfriend then, my wife now, uh, and then my two best friends. I called them as soon as I got off the phone with her. I called them, and one is a skeptic, one's a no person, very very successful. The other person is a very successful engineer. They're both way more successful than I am, but they're like, yeah man, like, yeah dude, just, yeah, do it. And they're always there every step of the way, kind of giving me pushback, giving me, asking the questions that I should be asking. I'm not surrounded by yes men at all. I'm surrounded by people who care about me, and people who like, they'll make sure that I'm on the right path, but they'll kick my ass. They'll kick my ass mentally, physically if I need to sometimes. Um, but that's my daily practice. I make sure I reach out to those people, and like in a conversation of, oh, did you get the last Instagram reel I sent you, or the last X thing I sent you? Something will come out, and it's like, all right, we'll have this awesome conversation, and yeah, that's my daily ritual.
Awesome.
Gabe, what are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? Are you reading anything?
uh, Reading wise, audiobook. I'm one of those people, I don't count it. I don't count it as reading. Reading is very very important to me. I just finished Rick Rubin's book.
Awesome.
Did you
For
read it or audiobook that?
I read it, because I books like that I like reading, and I like taking notes. So that's why books are my books. You can't see it over there, but I have a bunch of books there, and I keep them, and I write notes in them. And every time I'm like, oh, I thought about this, and I'll go back to the page. Uh, so but what I love music. Oh man, I love music. I just one of my friends just put me onto this band called Little Moon from Utah. Beautiful vocals. Yeah, I'm a music guy. Music 24/7, brand new music, any type of music, any type. I'm serious. Before, I was like, oh no, I don't like this. I'm like, no, no, I like anything now. Like a few months ago, I was really into uh, Japan rock. Just it was something that was, really cool, like beats and really cool like melodies, but I had no idea what they were saying. So I appreciated that. Working out, that's like really cool, just to put something on that's like just music, but you can't really like distinguish what the lyrics say. So like when you're working out, you're like, that's exactly what I need. Uh, but yeah, I love music. So, and if anyone has any good bands or whatever recommendations, shoot them over. I'll listen.
What kind of music is Little Moon?
Alternative.
Okay.
So alternative indie.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really cool vocals. Really, really cool. They're super small. They're like very, very small.
Okay. So I'll give you we got a recommendation from the Chans last week. It's their band called from Australia called the Skegs. It's kind of like psychedelic surf rock.
Hey, done.
And then you know who always has really good music recommendations is Boz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. He recommended a few bands, especially during the tour, and just we kind of bonded over that. I was a drummer in a previous life many moons ago.
You're a
Uh,
Renaissance man.
I do a little bit of everything. Like things that I like, I just do, and a lot of people were like, "Is he bullshitting?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not bullshitting. I do it. Like, what do you want me to do? Was I like super good at it? No. Did we do a bunch of like little open mics and little shows? Yeah, we did. It was fun. It was fun while it lasted, but then I transitioned to health and fitness, and then I transitioned to something else, and then I transitioned to this. So, it's never too late to kind of
Reinvent yourself.
yeah, it's definitely not.
I'll give you one more. I don't know if you've heard of the Defiant.
Yes.
They two of the band members, Greg Camp and Johnny Rio, were guests on the podcast, but the front man is Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I Who did you guys have on the podcast? Because I was skimming through some of the episodes.
We had Greg Camp, he's from Smash Mouth, and then Johnny Rio was from the Street Dogs.
Johnny Rio. There you go. I gotta re-listen to those podcasts then and start listening to some of their stuff.
Yeah.
What
Hell yeah.
curious, Gabe, what did you major in at Rutgers?
Economics.
Okay. Cool.
Economics. It was a weird time because it was during 2000, like that whole 2008 type of thing. It
Oh yeah.
was really fun. Really fun. Everyone was weirded out. I was weirded out.
I'll
But
bet.
now we're here into the next whatever that was.
Gabe, last one we got for you. Do you have a guilty pleasure or guilty pleasures? I know we talked about Taylor Ham. Do you have a favorite donut shop? Are you a whiskey or a craft beer enthusiast? Maybe in your musical, you're a closet Swifty.
uh, much respects to Taylor Swift. Much respect. She uses a lot of awesome producers. Like a guilty pleasure. One of the things I do like I don't drink. I don't drink anymore. One bad night in Nashville made me not want to drink anymore. It does. I mean, I I would probably say like a guilty pleasure is playing video games.
Okay.
I play video games. This is as much as like this is also like my work setup. I within reach. I got this bad boy here. I have my gaming computer right here, which I kind of told my wife that it was for work, but it's definitely not for work. So that's something that I like doing, just to kind of give me at least an hour of me. And again, it's with friends. I'm never gonna just put something on where it's just me. It has to be perfect. Like my friends have to also be on because then we'll talk about other stuff. We'll talk about life and again, it's one of those things that it's just like checking in on the people that I love and making sure they're also checking in on me while we're, you know, talking shit to other people.
Do you have a particular game?
Halo.
Halo.
Yep. Halo.
Right.
That's first person shooters. I'm decently, I won't say good at it, better than good. Any first person shooter.
Do you mess with the VR stuff at all?
No. I was this close to getting one of those new Apple VR thingies, but it was mostly for travel. I'm like, let's see how it works. But then a bunch of things down the line. I have a friend that works in the sector, and he's like, just wait. All right,
Wait.
well, if you're telling me to wait, then I'll wait. He knows more about it than I do.
Right on. Cool. Well, I appreciate your time tonight and all your responses and your guilty pleasures and learning a little bit more about the coffee industry and the ins and outs of all that stuff. And it's been fun to follow along with what you got going on, and all that you've been helping out with the CrossFit community, and how they've been helping you out.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to kind of just ramble and talk, uh, and for what you guys are also doing. It's really cool to kind of again give a lot of people from different aspects of life a place to kind of congregate, and that's something that you guys are doing. So I appreciate you guys a lot as well.
Absolutely. Next
Thank
time
you.
you're down in South Carolina, let me know.
Definitely, 100%. And whenever the next crash event is, which I think is April,
Okay, cool.
you stop by the gym, watch all the fire breathers kick butt,
Yeah,
take names.
definitely.
Sweet. Thanks again, Gabe. We got the tip of the iceberg tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and appreciate all you do.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys.